Let's take that story on now with Miko Peled, who's an Israeli-American author and the founder and president of Palestine House of Freedom. It joins us now from Washington, D.C. Sir, good to have you with us. So we have these huge and growing protests. Will they have any effect? Will they force Benjamin Netanyahu's hand in any way?
Well, thank you for having me. The short answer is no. These are very similar to the protests that we saw earlier in 2023. It's a group within Israeli society that does not like Netanyahu and his policies, and have been trying to push him away. But his majority in the Knesset is solid. His support from the right is solid. And really, if these protesters were serious about releasing the hostages, they would focus on ending the mass killing of Palestinians, on the mass displacement of Palestinians, and demand a release of all Palestinian prisoners, which is, of course, that's the reason why these hostages were taken to begin with. But clearly, they do not see it that way. And so since there's no real concern being expressed for the fate and the safety and security of Palestinians who are being butchered by the tens of thousands in Gaza, now in the West Bank, and are suffering greatly in other parts of Palestine, I don't believe that these protests are serious about really wanting to see the hostages come home.
So what are they protesting about? Well, are they not protesting about getting the hostages home, but not focusing, as you say, on relief for Gaza? But ultimately, isn't that their aim? Otherwise, what is it?
Well, it's a political. This is an anti-Netanyahu. It's the same group of people that were protesting before, more or less, in early 2023. The only way to get the hostages back is by releasing Palestinian prisoners. It's by stopping the massive slaughter of Palestinians in the Gaza Strip and in the West Bank, the massive destruction of Palestinian homes and then Palestinian existence throughout Palestine. There is no magic pill here that will somehow release the hostages. There has to be an overhaul of the entire reality in Palestine. Otherwise, any other demands are not serious. It's like the demands for ceasefire. It's an absurd demand when there's a genocide going on to ask the perpetrator of a genocide to agree to a ceasefire. That's why all of these things are failing. The ceasefire demand and negotiations are failing. The attempts to release the hostages are failing, and they're failing because the asks are the wrong asks. The premise for the negotiations is the wrong premise. There has to be an absolute clear demand to end the killing of Palestinians, to provide safety and security for the Palestinian people, guarantees for the safety and security of the Palestinian people, and a release of all Palestinian political prisoners. Nothing short of that is going to bring about any change. Whether Netanyahu stays or goes, and I don't believe he's going anywhere, I think he's very safe, and you can see it, he's also very confident. But whether he goes or stays will make absolutely no difference on this issue. As long as the slaughter continues, as long as the oppression continues, as long as Palestine is being held hostage and Palestinian people are being held hostage by the state of Israel, there will be no change. There will be no difference. There will be an ongoing killing of the Palestinians.
But Netanyahu, as you say yourself, Netanyahu will not agree or adhere to any of those stipulations that you're talking about. And when we see the CIA director telling an audience today, when he met up, William Burns and Richard Moore met up at a Financial Times event, he said he hopes a more detailed ceasefire proposal will be put forward in the coming days. I mean, what else is that going to have in it that we haven't heard before that's going to make any difference, that's going to make the Israeli Prime Minister say, oh, yeah, well, OK, I'll go for that?
Severe international pressure, sanctions, absolute severe sanctions, and absolute embargo on weapons, on the sales of weapons to Israel. That is how you bring a genocidal regime to stop, to halt, waiting for them to be in a good mood one day and agree to negotiate. Why should they agree? Netanyahu has nothing to gain. Israel has nothing to gain. Even if, God forbid, these hostages will end up dead, it's all upside for the state of Israel. It's all upside for Netanyahu. It makes no difference. The only thing that can make a difference is severe international pressure, severe sanctions, an arms embargo, and immediate support, humanitarian support, and support for and guarantees for the safety and security of Palestinians. Nothing short of that is going to bring an end to the fighting or the killing or the release of the hostages. Negotiating with a perpetrator of the genocide and asking them to somehow agree to terms is absurd. It's an absolutely absurd idea. it's never going to work. And I warrant you, not that I'm a prophet, but the next round of negotiations and the next round of terms will fail as well. Israel has no ambition and really no interest in agreeing to any terms whatsoever.
Miko, we're going to leave it there. Appreciate your perspective. Thanks for joining us here in Aljazeera. Miko Peled, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.